I'm Joel Grimes, and welcome to the Still Life Masterclass. Kind of excited about doing this because it's completely different than what I normally do. You may know me as a portrait photographer, and sometimes I do landscapes and different subjects, but still life, that's a little bit of a departure. Now you might think that, but about 12 years ago, I did a whole series of still life. Back, I think, right about the transition of film to digital. I can't remember the exact time period. Maybe it was 15 years ago. I did this whole series of cactus, sort of still life cactus, things I would go out and take a prickly pear chunk and lay it down on a gray piece of paper. And anyways, it was a lot of fun. And I kind of, I did those images for my wall. I never thought I would like put them in a gallery or anything like that at the time. We had a very southwest, it was down in Tucson, a Santa Fe style home. I kind of wanted to do some fine art images for that house. So I kind of dabble a little bit in the still life. Now over the years I've shot products for clients, you name it. I've shot, I even did, I did some food for Village Inn and Candy's Tortillas and things like that. So I've had some experience with still life in the commercial realm, but as a fine art approach, not a whole lot. So during this lockdown, I was trying to get another masterclass put together using models, the beauty portrait, something like that. And I was having all these problems. It was just kind of dead end after dead end. And so I thought, what else could I do? Something I could do in my own living room, or in a room that I didn't have to rent a studio and get bodies and all that stuff to sit and stand for me and do portraits and stuff. So still life is something you can do in your living room. In fact, I took over our main table here in the living room, and of course I couldn't take over too long. My wife kind of kicked me out, and then I kind of reset it up again, and then she kicked me out again. So, but it's something you can do in a very small space. And so I thought, all right, this would be perfect. So I started thinking of some ideas. Now, still life is one of the reasons why I kind of like this series, is because the creative process is the same no matter if you're approaching a subject, a portrait, or you're shooting a car for a client or whatever it is. There's a creative process that takes place. I love that. Now, I've often said that I'm not the smartest guy on the planet, and I am definitely no creative genius, but I have a passion for the creative process. So whether I'm photographing a cowboy with a horse in the rolling hills with mountains in the background with perfect light, I get pretty excited when I do that. But a still life, I get excited about that too, because it's a creative process. I absolutely love that. There are choices that have to be made, creative choices. And so you think, oh, is that going to work better here, there, whatever. And so that's why I kind of like doing this. And because I don't need to have, like I said, lots of bodies. And when I always talk about doing portraits, the art of recruiting, getting subjects in front of my lens is harder than the actual photography part of it, or the picture taking part. Getting subjects, that's the challenge. I love that, and I do love going out, and when I did the Harley series across America, 13,000 miles, 100 days, I had to do a lot of recruiting and going up to Harley riders and asking them if I could take their picture. That's not easy. But still life is, I think, on one sense, a little bit easier to do. But here's where I think the still life really shines in terms of as an opportunity to be an artist and to create. You can put these prints on your wall. In fact, some of the stuff that I did before, it was a ways back where I did some tools and I did some flowers and stuff, all on the ground with a gray piece of paper. And then I added the texture later. We're going to show you all about that. That series, I don't know, maybe I posted a few of those, but people responded to those, and my sister, who's an interior designer, she's like, oh, these are great, okay? Can I need some prints, whatever, okay? So it's something that people actually are attracted to. It's like you have a kitchen, or you have an area where you can do we're gonna show you how to do a 3 in a row, a triptych setup, or a grid of 9, things like that, which when you put in a frame look absolutely beautiful. So that brings me to another kind of point. When you do a still life series, I think the easiest way, and this is the same with portraits, like I did the Harley project, I had an idea and I kept the theme going for 100 days straight. in some ways that's really difficult because you're driving along an old barn and you go, oh, hey, look at that old barn, I want to photograph that. Well, no, we're doing Harleys, okay? So you have to be concentrated on one topic, and you get really good at that one topic or that theme because you repeat it over and over again. So with a series of still lifes, take an idea and you repeat it over and over. You get better at it. You make mistakes. You go back, try it again. And so it's fun because at the end of, I think, this masterclass, I actually feel like I've gotten a pretty good handle on this vision that I had as an artist, and it kind of developed a little bit through the process. So sometimes you say, I don't know where to start. Well, that's okay. Just start. Grab some items and start shooting. So the other thing about a still life is if you go to a gallery. I was just in Santa Fe in Taos. My wife we did a big little loop, and I hit a couple galleries, and you walk in the galleries, you look at, there's all these kind of themes like landscape, Southwest landscape, or I did a book on the Navajo. Spent 2 years photographing them a long time ago. But that's a great subject matter. Wild horses. There's a lot of subject matter that people want to put on their walls, right? If you do a beautiful photograph, you can sell it in a gallery. So that's something to think about, is when you pick a theme, is it something that people are interested in? Now, people are interested in anything. You do a whole series of longhorn cattle, and people are going to love it. I mean, there's people that like cattle or horses. I mean, whatever. Donkeys. I was going to do a whole series on donkeys. They have wild donkeys up here in Arizona, and I actually did a thing for Arizona Highways where I photographed a lady who was a nature conservatory. Whatever it was, she was a portrait of her, but she had some donkeys there that she had rescued, and I got to photograph one of them, Huckabee, and he was this great subject. And anyways, there's no end to what you can do in terms of picking a subject, but pick something that someone might want to hang on their wall, and then you go and you do this series, and you go and you start pitching the galleries, or you can sell your work online. There's a bunch of online different e-commerce websites that you can be a part of. Maybe you pay a fee or give them a slight cut of the proceeds, but you can sell your work online or go get it in a gallery. To me, as a working photographer for, well, close to 40 years, I've worked commercial advertising, shot ad campaigns. The idea of getting my work in a gallery actually is very appealing to me. And since I'm getting a little bit older, my career is at the, I guess you'd say, I don't know if I'd say I've peaked, but I'm at the point where I'm slowing down a little bit and I'm not doing as much commercial work. And the idea of doing gallery work is very exciting to me. So people come to me all the time, what's the future of what you're going to do? I go, I want to get my work into galleries. So that's another reason why I think this series works really well, is you have time to go and work an image. You don't have distractions of having a cowboy out in the field with a horse that's not cooperating, the sun's going down. Working a still life is you can really take your time and manipulate and just change things and really get absorbed into it. Sometimes an hour, 2 hours go by and I'm working on one image and I don't even know it because I'm having so much fun. It's just, you get absorbed into the process. So that's what I think this whole still life thing is all about, is creating images that you can not only put on your wall, but you can go and put in a gallery or sell to other people who may like that series too. So I always say, think in a series. When you think in a series and repeat it over and over, you get really good at something. So in my case, as I put this together, I sort of started out, I went to the antique store, and you'll see me, and I'm going to talk about all the props here in a minute that I picked up. But it was really sort of like, okay, I'm going to go to the antique store, and I'm going to start walking around and go, oh, that's cool. All right, there's one of those, right? And I try to get things in threes. So I go, well, let's see if we can find another one of those. Teapot or one of those little scales. I put some different items on there. And then I thought, well, okay, so we put fruit, vegetables, different things that I can put in the picture. So it kind of developed as I went and began looking for props. The ideas popped up. And so don't try to copy exactly what I do. If you do this, fine, but that's not really the point here. As I teach you, what I want you to do is come up with a series of images that fit you, that you like, that represent you as an artist, and then people go, Wow, that's incredible. So what are we going to cover in this master class? Well, so we're going to talk about the gear that I use. Very simple. Basically a softbox, one strobe, and light stand. Actually 2 light stands, a little boom arm, piece of gray attached to a piece of foam core. An old table I got from World Market. I distressed and left it outdoors, and you can find those old tables. In fact, my wife and I were just on a trip, and we saw some antique stores, because now I'm hitting all the antique stores, and there were some old tables in there. And unfortunately, we were traveling. We flew somewhere, and so I couldn't like put them on the plane. But I was like, oh, that table would be perfect for this series. So you find an old series of like say a table or something, a piece of slate or I don't know, and you could put products on top of there. Part of the still life, background scenario that you have. And so don't copy exactly what I do. That's why I keep saying. I don't mind, like say some people, they do what I do and they'll do it exactly. That's okay. I don't care about that. It's just that I think for you as an artist, it's better for you to go and find your own voice. So we're going to talk about the equipment. We'll talk about the props. We're going to go into the retouching side of how I make it all happen. So you're going to see a photograph of mine that I've taken here on the table, and then you go, hey, that's kind of boring. Not that exciting. And then I go into Photoshop, do all my magic, and you go, that's really cool. Okay? So part of the whole vision as an artist is the post-processing. Remember when digital first came along, people say, well, if you can't do it in camera, then you're not a true artist. Well, I don't agree with that today. And I think that the dark room, Ansel Adams used to say the magic happened in the dark room. So I'll show you how I go and build all these images that you're looking at. I'm showing you some of these as I talk. And you're going to go, wow, that's incredible. Techniques, the Photoshop techniques aren't rocket science, but I'm going to show you how I do that. So it's really kind of the whole process. And I'm also going to talk a lot about blending modes in Photoshop. We're going to go through a little tutorial on that too. That'll hopefully get you sort of like, blending modes, that's really cool. And also when I do my lighting, I'm going to do a little demonstration with an egg that shows you the cross light and why I use cross light and how to manipulate your light to get the really beautiful, sort of that painterly look. So we're going to cover all that in this master class. So I can't wait to get started. So we'll go from here and we'll start making it all happen.